Happy Martin Luther King Day. It's Martin Luther King's birthday. Great civil rights leader, did a lot for this country, and in honor of the man, I'm gonna go fishing today. I'm off work, obviously. Pulled up to the lake, it's about 10 o'clock. Gonna fish till dark, try to figure something out. It's cold. It's 32 degrees, the wind's blowing like 20 out of the north, and the lake is super stained. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of snow, and the water's just cold. But we're going fishing. As I get out there, hopefully I can figure something out. We'll talk about what's going on in the lake, give you some water temperature readings, water clarity, that kind of stuff. It's wintertime, folks. It is definitely wintertime. December was nice and mild. January came in cold. But if you want to go, you got to get out there in the elements and be part of it. And that's what we're going to do. Dump this boat in. Let's go. See this grass, the grass is dead, but there's a grass line coming into this little short pocket, and I'm just kind of working this outside grass line. I'm making a few casts up in it, throwing a jerkbait, and really targeting this outside grass line. Get a little slight breeze blowing in here, and I get a little bit of breeze out in the main lake, and it's cold out here. Water temp's 40 degrees, and it's stained. It's about, it's like less than a foot of visibility. It's kind of thing that a lot of times I would throw a spinnerbait in this, but we're going to throw this jerkbait around a little bit, cover a little bit of water, but just focus on this outside grass, see if we can pick up a few bites. See these weed clumps right here? So 6 foot of water, and there's weed clumps right here. Those fish will sit down in these weed clumps, and your jerkbait's coming over the top of it, and they'll swim up out there and grab it if you let it sit long enough. There he is. There he is. Nice. On the outside of that grass line. Good fish. On the outside of the grass line. Jerkbait. 40 degree water, guys. Muddy 40 degree water. Come on. Let me get my gloves on. It's soaking wet. There we go. Got him. Nice fish. Oh man, that fish is cold. It's a pretty good fish. Just throwing a little KVD jerkbait. In this muddy water, something that's got a little flash is a pretty good idea. And I'm going to rotate through several jerkbaits today, but it's got that black back and kind of chrome sides. It's got that yellow belly, chartreuse belly, whatever. Good fish, man. Fish is in about 4 feet of water, and I was just lifting up to make another cast, and she smoked it. So that is fun. It's chilly out here. Makes it all worthwhile.
Believe it or not, a jerkbait is still an excellent bait to throw in cold, muddy water. But color and cadence are really, really critical. Something like this Megabass Vision 110 in the Western Clown color, great color to throw in that dirty water. It's got a lot of flash, and I think flash is kind of key. Bass are sight feeders, and in muddy water, their vision is limited, so they have to rely on the lateral line. This bait, or any jerkbait for that matter, puts off a lot of sound. So when you're hitting it, they're hearing that sound, and the side-to-side action displaces some water. So their lateral line can pick up on that sound, it can pick up on that water displacement. And they're sluggish. They're cold-blooded creatures. The water's 39, 40 degrees, maybe 38, 37, something like that. So their brain is working slow. And that is why the cadence is so important. It's real important to let that bait sit. So you jerk this, there's a noise, there's water displacement, catches the attention of the bass. They start swimming in that direction. They can't visually see it, but they can pick it up in their lateral line. You let it sit. I mean, 10, 15 seconds sometimes. They get closer, you hit it again. Maybe they're close enough to actually see the flash and they can key in on that bait and find it. And we had Mark Menendez on our live stream not too long ago. We do Monday night live stream at 7:30 Central. And he said that a bass can see up to 5 times better than a human. So if the water visibility is 1 foot, the bass can see 5 feet. But it can pick this bait up with a lateral line a lot farther than that. But let's just assume that the bass picks this bait up and you let it sit, giving that fish time to get within 5 feet. When you hit it again, it sees the flash and it can come up and grab the bait. Some of the other colors that work great in muddy water are something like a French pearl. You know, this is a Lucky Strike French pearl, but it's bold. You know, it creates an outline. Fish can pick up on white. You know, white's just a great color. White's a great color on chatterbait. It's a great color on a swim jig, a spinnerbait, crankbaits, whatever. It's just a good all-around color in muddy water, whatever bait you got it on. Orange belly too. Something like this Jackal. You know, this Jackal Rearrange 110. It's got this chartreuse. Now, I wouldn't throw this color. I would throw something more bold, but something that's got chartreuse on the bottom or orange, like a Smithwick Rogue. Another great cold muddy water bait. This color right here, it's really bright on the bottom. When that fish gets close enough to visually see that bait, they're going to be able to pick up on that. The color that I was throwing in the jerkbait that I was throwing in this video, this is made by Strike King. This is the KVD jerkbait. So this is that kind of gold. You know, it's got the dark back, it's got a little bit of gold, and it's got that chrome on the side and a white belly. This thing throws a lot of flash. So as that fish gets a little bit closer, it's going to be able to pick up on that jerkbait based on the flash.
Just throwing a black and blue Cumberland Pro caster, 3/8 ounce with a meaty chunk on there. And that fish wanted it. That was a good bite. 41-degree water. It's warmed up a little bit over here. Just kind of mixing the colors, black and blue with a, I don't know what they call it, green pumpkin party or something, but max scent.
Another good bait for that cold, dirty water scenario is a black and blue jig, a black or a black and blue jig. This happens to be a 3/8 ounce Cumberland Pro Lures Pro Caster jig. And I've kind of added like a finesse skirt. You can do that. You can just let your skirt hang down and trim it up, make it finessey. I think it pushes off a little more water, but it gives it that finesse profile. And I've got this tipped with the Berkeley Max Scent meaty chunk. You know, I've trimmed this up to make it, you know, a little bit more finessey, but the meaty chunk, it's legit. It's like the next best thing to the actual Uncle Josh pork rind, in my opinion. It puts off a lot of smell, and it's great when the bait is sitting still. I think it really makes a difference. It permeates the water with the scent, and scent's really key in cold water in the winter and stuff. A finesse jig in the wintertime seems to generate a lot more bites for whatever reason. I know some people say that bass are looking for one big bite, and there's a reason behind that. You know, there's been studies done that say that a bass may only feed once every week. So it makes sense that they might want a big meal. But to me, I've had no problem catching numbers and good size bass on a, you know, just a more finesse type profile. They say that 90% of the bass use 10% of the water, and that's definitely true in the wintertime. A lot of times it's hard to find a bite. It really is hard to find a bite. You'll search and search and search. You know, this day was a little bit slow. I did manage to catch a few fish, but you got to keep moving around. You got to keep moving around. The fish are not spread out. They go to certain wintering areas. Some of the best places to check are channel swings. Anytime you got a channel swing that comes up next to a point or a channel bank, that's a good area. Fish like to pull up shallower, feed, and then drop back out into the deeper water. They want to be close to deep water most of the time in the wintertime. So high percentage areas will cut down the hunt, and you know, you got a better chance, obviously, of catching fish if you're in the right area. If there's a warming trend, say you've had 3 or 4 days of sun and the water temperature has jumped up a couple degrees, that's probably when I would try a little bit bigger jig. Something like this Crocagator Zapper jig. You know, you got to put a big trailer on there. This is I think this is called the muskrat. But a bigger meal for those bass that maybe have moved up and are a little bit more aggressive. There's nothing wrong with trying a big jig. You know, if you're out there jig fishing, you probably want 2 or 3 on the deck. You know, something that's bigger, something a little bit heavier to fish out a little bit deeper. But then you also definitely want to have something that's finesse.
There he is. Nice. On the old blade bait. Oh, I got off. God dang it. There he is. Just landed right on his head. Just landed right on his head. He's spinning. Is that a crappie? Yeah, it's a little bass. Baby bass. Well, to make you fault. Second bite I've got on this, just kind of changing it up. That's a Debo dink there.
We talked about 90% of the fish being in, 10% of the water, and how channel swings are very important. But there's also a small bite window in the wintertime. It's a shorter bite window, which is typically why it's such a timing thing. The fish don't feed a whole lot in the winter, and their bite windows are small. So it's very important to put yourself in the high percentage areas and take advantage of that small bite window that happens. It's still the same for the most part. You know, even on a cold day, the morning bite is still really good, and then sometimes an evening bite, and there'll be that bite in the middle of the day. But I think instead of there being like a 2-hour window in the morning, 2-hour in the, you know, noon, 2-hour in the evening, it might only be 30 minutes. So it's very important to, you know, bait selection is very important, and being in high percentage areas, because you just don't get a whole lot of opportunities. Now, that's just a rule of thumb. There are some days when they're really biting, but majority of the time, you got a lot more fronts moving in and out. It gets kind of funky. You don't have a lot of stable weather, so the fish are just going to be kind of funky.
First cast with the gold. Change colors. Old Zamiki Vault. First cast. Caught me one. Little guy.
The other bait that I had success with on this day was this little Tamiki Vault. You know, this is a little blade bait, and I think gold. I've been playing around with colors. I think gold is one of the better colors to throw in dirty cold water. If you're fishing in an area and they don't want to bite a jig, you're seeing them on the bottom, the shatter stuck to the bottom, you just got a feeling that the fish are down there. You're not seeing the jerkbait fish that are up higher in the water column, and you're throwing a jig through areas, you're just not getting bit. Maybe a shaky head, you're just not getting bit. That's when I think this blade bait kind of takes the place. It creates a reaction strike. There's not a lot of baits that create a reaction strike in really cold water, and for some reason this little thing has just got that really tight vibration, and if you get it right next to a fish and you pop it up off the bottom 6 inches or a foot, it seems like they're gonna swim over there and suck it in. It's just a reaction thing. But gold, this is 3/8 ounce. I bought some 1/2 ounce. I'm gonna start experimenting with those. Just a great little bait to force those fish to grab it in cold, muddy water. By the way, I just bought a couple of these Daiwa Tatulas. You know, I've run luge reels forever, still run luge reels, but spreading out a little bit, branching out. Got a good deal on some Daiwa Tatulas, and they're very nice. They cast this blade bait a country mile. I mean, it's just wham, it's gone. Very impressed so far. Got a couple more that I'm gonna rig up and start playing around with them, but this has been a really good reel.
There he is. Blade bait. Better fish. Yeah. Nice. No blade bait. Gold's paying off in this dirtier water. Water's 41 degrees. And these fish are on the bottom. I can't get them to come up for a jerkbait. There we go. Little Demiki vault. It's something I've been playing around with this winter. That fish is fat. I can't get him to hit a jerkbait really. Getting a few bites on a jig, but I just kind of started throwing this thing around a little bit, and I'm getting some bites on it. I've missed about 3 on it already. It's that gold color. This water is like 1.5 foot of visibility, maybe. So that gold kind of pops a little bit. That's fun.
Another bait that can be really deadly in that cold, dirty water situation is a big spinner bait. Something like a 5/8 ounce, 3/4 ounce living rubber skirt with a size 7, number 8, number 7 Colorado blade. You know, just a brass or gold or something like that. Long arm spinner bait with a big swim bait on the back. It really works the best when the water's 42 degrees or above. If you've got one of those warming trends, you know, you've got 3 or 4 or 5 days of nice sunshine, not a lot of wind, the shallows warm up, a lot of those bass will slide up there to kind of sun, and that's when this thing can really be lights out. I recently did a video with this spinnerbait where they were biting it pretty good. So if you haven't checked that out, have a look at it. It's got a lot of good action, and I kind of talk about what I'm looking for when I'm fishing this spinnerbait.
They just vacated the area. How'd you guys do?
See you later, son.
All right.
We'll be watching tonight.
Okay, cool. I better get home then. Just trying to keep my rod tip low to the water. And just move your rod tip about 1 foot and it just flutters. Just drop it. And the bite has been, as I'm pulling it up, I'm feeling the fish on there. They're not hammering it. There's fish down there right now. There he is. Right. See some fish on the bottom right in this area. A little bit of shad. Fish is strong, man. Jeez. Hey, it's a little striper. Little striper. Cool. This little Demiki rig catches, not Demiki, but Demiki ball catches everything. Come here, buddy. Open your mouth. Alright. Little striper on the vault. It's fun. Seems to be about the only way I can get bites right now. Just a tough day. Post frontal. Cool fish. Just, I think these are probably stocked this year, maybe last year. So Sean Hurst, thanks buddy. Good fun. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you appreciate the content. It's tough out here. Yeah, it was tough, but we managed to catch a few fish on a cold day. Until next time.